you meet so many extremely kind and trustful people. It's amazing. I mean, you start completely worried with your trip and you focus on how you can increase your safety and so on. And then in the end, you feel bad about it because you meet all these nice people. So we drove up there and slept there for the night, and the weather forecast actually looked perfect. But then when we wanted to hike the next day, everything was really covered in complete and deep snow. And then in Belize, we spent a week on a low budget atoll where we just camped in our own tent in a small island. We ate coconuts all day, and it was a paradise. We could snorkel from the reef, and it just cost like $100 for the whole week, including the boat to the island. So it was very simple, but it was also very special. Or also a drink that helps if you're a little bit sick is a grog, which is basically hot water mixed with a little bit of rum, lemon, and sugar.
Yeah, then you sleep like a baby and you are waking up newborn.
Listening to the GHT Overland podcast.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning. Good evening. Was that in the opposite order, Lisa?
It could be any order you want.
That's right. We are coming to you live inside the Hallmark camper Victor in the middle of the woods.
Our cabin in the woods.
Our cabin in the woods, our Hallmark camper cabin in the woods. Does that sound romantic, Lisa?
It does.
I've only had one cup of coffee today, but I do have a Red Bull in hand, so we should be ready to go. We are super excited, as always, to share with you another episode with two experienced overland travelers. If you are planning or dreaming of exploring the Pan American Highway, or anywhere for that matter, this episode is perfect for you. A ton of great details along with endless stories of overland travel from Baltimore, Maryland to Peru. And quite frankly, they're still driving south. So this week's guests are on a very long honeymoon. The extra cool thing is, this isn't even their first time doing a vehicle-based or overlanding trip. In 2015, they flew from Switzerland to the U.S., rented a Chevy Tahoe, and traveled all over the U.S., stopping to sleep in Walmart parking lots. After getting married about a year and a half ago and taking all the lessons learned from their U.S. and even an Australia overland trip, they laid out a plan to return to the U.S., tackling the Pan American. How they did it, all the lessons learned, experiences along the way, and advice for you is coming up. Anouk, a business analysis, and Rafi, a construction supervisor, are super fun to chat with and learn from. Anouk writes a very detailed blog at averylonghoneymoon.com. And you can also find them on Instagram under A Very Long Honeymoon. And with that, let's jump into the episode with Anouk and Rafi from Switzerland as we caught up with them in Peru. Oh, super quick. If you do us a big favor, it helps us a ton in getting exposure for the podcast, whether it's iTunes or any other platform that you use. Please go over and leave a quick comment and a rating. Additionally, we are working on the Patreon support side to make that more engaging and valuable for you. So if you have any ideas or things you'd like to see or have access to, just let us know. We have a contact tab on Patreon, on our website at ghtOverland.com, and you can always send us a message on Instagram. And the last thing, and I promise, absolute last thing, then we'll get into the episode. If you like overland travel videos on YouTube, pretty much every Sunday, 6 a.m. Pacific, a new video goes live on our overlanding adventures. Currently, those are on Kings Canyon and Sequoia National Parks, and I hope you find them both entertaining, relaxing, and enjoyable. Let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the GHD Overland Podcast. It is an absolute treat to get a chance to talk with you guys today, so we really appreciate you taking the time and going through all the extra effort that you went through to actually make that connection today.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Now, we always love to start off by kind of painting a little image of where you're at. Can you kind of describe to us where you guys are currently and the scenery that you've been enjoying today?
Well, we are now in Cusco, a city in Peru. We've driven, I don't know, maybe 5 hours from the south up to here. And now we're in Cusco and are looking forward to visit Machu Picchu within the next few days.
Oh, fun. Was that 5-hour drive today or was that yesterday?
That was today, this morning.
Whew, long drive today.
Yeah, it's like all the distance here are huge. I mean, in the US too, but here it's like the traffic is you're not quickly, so it takes a lot of time. It was like 250 kilometers, so it took us almost 5 hours.
Yeah,
So-
the roads are sometimes fast, so we make not that much as we do in the US or in Europe in 1 hour.
Oh, okay. Is that a typical drive day for you, 5 hours, or is that a pretty long day?
A long day, I would say, is 8 to 10 hours, and a normal day is maybe 1 hour
Okay.
or even a bit less.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. For Lisa and I, if we were driving like 5 hours, we would be exhausted right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like, it takes so much time to go to different places, and sometimes it's just like
Yeah.
you need to hit the road, otherwise, it's not a nice scenery to stay there, so you need to move further.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it might be a 2 Red Bull day.
Yeah. It's also a personal thing, like if you like to drive or not, that I'm a person that
Oh, true.
it doesn't stress me to drive 10 hours. I mean, it's exhausting, yes, but it's not something that is a huge problem for me.
So you guys have been found under the name A Very Long Honeymoon on social media. Exactly how long has your honeymoon lasted so far?
It's now, I mean, we married when COVID hits, and the original plan was like doing a honeymoon, like a long honeymoon, a very long honeymoon. But through COVID, we needed to wait a bit more than we planned to. But so we are on the road or on our honeymoon, I would say, now for 1 year and 1 month.
Oh, nice.
So we started in August 21 in Baltimore.
That's crazy. That's awesome. So if you guys were to sum up your backgrounds, like what you did prior to the Overland Travel and where you're from, any past careers, what does that look like for each of you?
Well, I mean, we're from Basel in Switzerland. It's a border town next to Germany. And I have been working as a, business analyst in a internal consulting of a big international company. Actually, I'm still employed. I'm just on a very long leave for 1.5 years in total.
Okay.
And Raphael?
Yeah, and I work normally as a foreman in road construction. So I also have extended leave of 1.5 years
Oh, okay.
to do that travel. So we are both still employees, but we don't receive any money, of course, because we don't work. But it's a nice thing to have this security that you can go back and still have that job.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So when you run across a road construction, do you stop and tell them how to get their job done a little bit quicker?
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
I always have to take him away from all the construction sites. He would just stand there and watch for hours.
So I love the story about you guys renting a Chevy Tahoe in the U.S. and sleeping in Walmart parking lots. Is that what inspired your passion for overland travel and adventure, or what spurred this idea of this very long honeymoon and doing it in an overland way?
Yeah, I mean, with this trip in the U.S., in the Chevrolet Tahoe, we just learned to love traveling by car.
Oh, okay.
We've already traveled before a lot, especially me, but more in a backpacking kind of way. Yeah, we just love the flexibility to be able to get to places where not that many other tourists go, to have everything you need with you. It's just such a convenient way of traveling, and we wanted to continue do another trip like this, and we did it again in Australia, and then even later when we took some minor vacations, we always rented a car or a moped or something just to have this flexibility. And it was then also our goal to take a longer time off, to really have time to do a longer trip, explore more, and the Pan American Highway is just the typical road trip. So the decision was very easy. And we had this plan already a long time ago. And
you definitely don't regret it.
Yes, we don't regret it. We just then worked towards this plan. And as we were getting married, we thought, well, why not do it as a honeymoon? I mean, we're not the people that go to a all-inclusive resort or something. So, this would be the best honeymoon for us that we can imagine. So, that's how it came like this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I guess we would be remiss to say congratulations on your honeymoon or your wedding.
Yeah.
So we better get that out.
Yeah, thank you.
Even though it was a year and a half ago. It's awesome. Good for you guys. Have you done like the U.S. part up into Alaska, or are you mainly doing like the what would it be, the west side of the U.S. and then down the Pan Am through Mexico, Central South America?
Well, I mean, we had to leave out Canada and Alaska because the borders were still closed with COVID. So
but it was the original plan.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. We couldn't do it. So we just...
Well, COVID screwed up a lot of things.
Definitely. Instead we just enjoyed five months in the mainland US, and this was also very nice. We did the whole northern part, drove down the west coast, and then moved over to Utah, Arizona, and until Texas, and then back to California, where we crossed into Mexico.
Baja California.
Yeah.
Okay. Super cool. So during your time in Australia, you rented a troopy in Australia, is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And this is after that trip, we decided, we want to have one of these cars sooner or later, because it was just like, it was perfect. I mean, Australia in a troopy, it was like, it was super, super nice. All these lonely beaches, like you drive on the beach for hours and you see no one there, and it's just incredible.
Okay, so that's what inspired your current rig. Can you tell us about your current rig you're using, the troopy you've got?
Yes, exactly. I mean, the troopies in Australia, they are a bit different. How they build them, and we found a small factory in Germany that do a bit of different setup, but still a hardtop, but of a small alcove. So you have a bit more space in the bed. What is perfect, I would say. So we found that small company. They do maybe 10 to 15 cars per year. So if you want to have a car from them, then you just wait like at least two years just to get your vehicle. And now with COVID, it's even worse. yeah, luckily we found an older couple that built it like exactly that kind of car we wanted to. And yeah, they had that car after the building, they had it 3 years with 30,000 kilometers. And yeah, they just discovered it's a bit too small for them because they're getting older, and four-wheel drive is like always a bit higher to go in and out and all that. So yeah, they bought a huge truck. Yeah, we got their car for quite a good price, and yeah, everything was just perfect for us. So we were really lucky, I would say.
Do you have a name for your troopy?
I mean, we named it Elkie because we have like a big moose painting on the side, but we're not very happy with the name, so so we never use it. So yeah, we don't really have a nice name that we use a lot.
Well, we'll keep it under wraps. We won't tell anybody except for everybody what that name might be.
Yeah.
That's funny. It took us a while to come up with a name for our vehicle. We went to one and then we went to another. Lisa didn't like that. We had to go to a different one. But we had nothing else to talk about. So those 5-hour drives got filled up with figuring out a name.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you guys were to pick one thing right off the top of your head, what's the number one most important piece of kit to each of you?
I would say it's like the coffee mugs for both. It's just like
I would have said the same thing.
it's just like a thing that you use every day, and yeah, it's like the elixir of living, and
Our fuel.
yeah, to get started in the morning. So I would say definitely our coffee mugs are the most used, and can't live without, I would say.
What's typical? 1 cup in the morning, 2 cups, 5 cups, 1 cup per hour? What's the deal?
Yeah, it's like I take normally 1 cup, my wife normally 2 cups, but I mean they are a bit bigger.
Yeah, it's like large to-go cups, like takeout cups, but we heat enough water to have a second coffee in the afternoon. But yeah, I take normally 2 and he 1.
That's awesome. Okay, very good. So from those original days of Overland Travel, when you were as inexperienced as we were 4 months ago, what do you look back on now and laugh that you thought you absolutely needed, but then you never ended up using?
Well, we have snow chains that we carry around and that we never use.
Yeah, but I would say like laugh about is more like you got an old hand mixer that is like manually powered.
Yeah,
it's like a really old, huge, heavy thing. And we thought, oh, that's so cool to have that, and we never used it.
Where did you find that?
Well, I inherited. I mean, it was like in the leftovers of the inheritance from my grandma. So, yeah, we thought it would be very useful.
Well, yeah. It's got sentimental value.
That's true.
I love it. Okay.
Come on, Grandma, we're going to Peru.
Yeah, exactly.
So, onboard necessities, how much water can you guys carry, and do you have any way of filtering it if you feel that you need to?
We have like 2 50-liter water tanks underneath the car. That's about 25 gallons or so. And we don't have a filter. We miss that a bit. But it's like these filters are taking a huge space. So we are quite limited at space in our troopy. So that's like a source that not exists. I mean, that we miss a bit, but we refill our tanks only with drinking water. Because, yeah, it's like quite a mess to clean them out because they are on the car, so it takes quite a few hours to clean them. And we have like these Garrafon, like 20 liters of drinking water that you can refill here, like on these agua purificado stations, because normally the tap water is not drinkable in South and Central America, except of Costa Rica.
Okay, is that generally where you end up getting water at, or those stations?
Yeah, there are also like in small towns. Sometimes there are like taps where all the locals came to fill their water tank for daily use, and it's basically from a natural source. And yeah, you can also go there. I mean, it really depends on the country where you are, and it's not always easy to find water. So it's like a source where we really take care of.
Yep. And then what about your electrical system? What does that look like? Do you have solar? What kind of batteries? How's that working for you?
So we have two battery systems, one for the engine, and that's a deep cycle AGM battery, and then we have a lithium 150 ampere hour for like the living space, and that's connected through a battery management system. So if the alternator brings energy, then it connects, and if it's needed, it connects. And yeah, of course, we also have solar. It's like 100 watts, and it's like a flexible one, so it's not extremely efficient, but it's like it's fine for us. It works. We can. I mean, everything we have is powered on 12 volts, except of the cooking, and we can at least 4 or 5 days without moving. So yeah, for us it's fine, perfect.
What do you use for cooking? Are you using propane, or do you have like a diesel cooker?
No, we have propane, a small tank that is like 2 kilo or so, and it lasts for a month,
or even more,
or even a bit more.
Oh, so a super long time. So you haven't had any problems refilling it when you need to?
No, I mean, sometimes we need to try 2 or 3 stations, but we always found a source somehow so far.
Yeah, it's like,
but
they charge more than normal because like a small container, the handling and all that stuff, you pay a bit more than it normally should be, but it's okay. It's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so far at least it was fine. We have a Mexican propane bottle, so we hope it just works also with the systems they have here in South America. I don't know, but yeah, we never had issues.
And on your refrigeration, any tips and challenges for keeping perishable foods?
Yeah, I mean, we have like a Engel 12 volt compressor fridge. That I would say is like a good size for 2 people. We have a bottle of wine in it, some beers, and yeah, all the other stuff that you need. I mean, when you go shopping, normally like.
Well, I like your priorities. You got the wine and the beer right at the top, and then the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And no, it's fine for these 40-liter works good for us. We can leave it at least 1 week, and we can put food in it and survive with it. But in Central America, yeah, it's quite challenging to keep your fruits and veggies in good shape because like it's so hot and humid. So yeah, it gets really quick bad if you don't watch your stuff. The good thing is like almost everywhere there are like small shops like at the side of the road where you can buy your veggies. So we try always not to buy too much. Just go like when there is one small shop, stop there, and it's even way cheaper than in the supermarket. So it's just don't buy too much, and then it's fine.
If you have like a carpet inside, as we do, we have all those Velcro mesh nets, and those are good for storage too of like fruits or veggies. Yeah.
Yeah, because it moves a bit when it's like a bumpy road or so. It's not like the veggies are not like jumping around because they are in a net that is flexible, so it lasts a bit longer.
Okay. Super cool. And then I don't know, like when you go to different regions, do you have anything in your troopy set up for whether it be heat or AC for cooling when you're in either extreme hot or cool places, or are you just using a fan?
Yeah, we just have like a USB fan or like 2 small ones, but they are okay, I would say. We would definitely invest in something that blows a bit more air around, especially in the night, because it's like, it's hard sometimes to get enough air in the car that you feel at least a bit comfortable. But yeah, I mean, AC or something like that, it's just like, it's huge. It takes so much energy. So yeah, it's not an option for us.
Okay. And
But we have while driving.
you have what?
We have air conditioning while driving, just not like.
Oh, perfect. The folks that you bought the vehicle from, is there any heater that's installed in it?
Yeah, we have an air diesel heater and a preheater for the engine that we could use for the side as well.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is that our troop is not insulated, so the warmth of the heater vanishes very quickly, and we don't run the heater all night. So if we wake up in the night, we might freeze nevertheless. And also because it's diesel, we can't run it at high altitude. And now we are driving in the Andes at altitudes around 4,000 meters or more. So we can't really run the heater in the night, and it's really freezing. So yeah, sometimes you have little icicles inside. Yeah, it would be nice to have another heating system as well, I guess, sometimes. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the isolation is one of the major things that I would do now, that we regret that we don't have it.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, to install it now, it's like we need to put everything out, and it's just like, it's so much work now. So yeah, I would definitely recommend to isolate your car if you are planning to do overland stuff.
Okay, good advice. Well, it sounds like you have some good snuggling in your future.
It's a honeymoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any specific recovery gear that you guys use or would recommend for somebody to have with them if they do a similar trip on the Pan Am?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend we have a four-wheel drive car, but I would say most of the people don't have a four-wheel drive car. I mean, we see a lot of Sprinters or Fiat or Rams here, and they're all two-wheel bases. But I mean, in general, you can say you need to be able to change a tire, because it's like, I think the major thing that could happen, and every overlander has experienced that, I think, to have a flat tire somewhere. So that would be nice to have a jack and the tools to change your spear wheel, because yeah, it's hard here to find someone that has like exactly the same tools to do it. And I would also recommend a shovel. I think with a shovel you can do almost everything. You can shovel you out of sand or dirt or whatever.
Super good point.
And you can also use it to build a nice fire pit, or if you need to do your stuff in the wild, it's good to bury it. So it's a thing that is like, I would say, a really useful gadget. And of course, I would also recommend a rope that someone can pull you out from where you ever are stuck, because what we saw now is like, there are a lot of cars around, even four-wheel drive cars, a lot of pickups, but nobody has a strap with them. So if someone is stuck somewhere, then there are normally like 5 cars that are trying to help, but nobody of these cars has a strap to just pull them out.
Oh.
So yeah, the rope is just like the important missing part that could do an easy recovery.
Good advice. Anybody doing the Pan Am, make sure you have a rope or a strap with you.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Yeah, and what we also use a lot is like something to check your air pressure of the tire, because sometimes you walk around the car and you look at the tire and you think maybe it's a flat tire or not. So you can check that if it's still okay or it just looks like a bit weird. Just you don't have a flat tire on the road, or it even burst or something like that. And yeah, of course, we also de-inflate our tires just for a more comfortable trip on dirt roads, or sometimes there are paved roads, but they have so many potholes, that you're just like happy to de-inflate the tire a bit to have a more comfortable ride.
Yeah, and sometimes you can even already get out when you're stuck if just by deflating the tires.
Yeah, we never used like sandboards. We have it, but we never used it. It's just
For
like
ourselves.
for ourselves. Yeah, it's normally it's enough just to take out a bit of pressure, and that solves the issue. So it's nice that you have this option if you are like really remote, and I mean you also can shovel you out, but to deflate the tires a bit faster.
Oh, great advice. It's really good. Okay, cool. So how do you guys plan like each day or each route, or do you do any planning for when you're going to go from one location to the next location?
Well, we're doing the planning more as a rolling process, I would say. I mean, I'm doing basically all the planning while Raphael is driving. I do long-term planning first. Whenever I have time, I read like Lonely Planet guidebooks or so and Google about the countries that we visit, scroll through social media, and mark all the places that I think are interesting in Google Maps. And then for the short-term planning, so for the day ahead or for the couple of days ahead, I revisit these pins and like check if they're really worth to go to, and check the conditions, prices, opening times, and so on, and just map a general route in my head, and we start following that and change it on the road. So it's really a rolling process.
Okay, cool. And then for what we call town days, I'm curious, do you guys do something similar for getting groceries, doing laundry, that sort of thing, or is that completely different when you're in South and Central America?
Yeah, I mean, we have those days that we visit the campground, for example.
Yeah, it's like more a cleaning day or just a maintained day, I would say.
Basically, for most of the times, like almost always, we either wild camp or self camp. And then when we visit the campground, it's always a lot of work for us, because then we do all the cleaning, the laundry, and all the Wi-Fi stuff we need to do. So yeah, we have these days as well, like every 1 or 2 weeks, I would say.
Yeah, more 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also enjoy town days. I mean, when we are in a big city, we also consider sometimes to go in a cheap hotel. It's just that the only thing is like, it's like the safe parking lot is like the major problem that we always have in big cities, because normally they have like these garages where you can go in with 2 meters high, and that's just not enough for us. So it's quite challenging to find a place where we can securely store our car for a few days and go in a hostel or in a hotel and enjoy the city. Because it's also in big cities, it's always a problem with the car. It's like no parking spaces, the traffic is a mess. Then there are sometimes regulations where you can drive on that day but not on that day. And
oh, interesting.
yeah, it's like,
yeah, they have that in Latin America a lot, actually. Like every big city has, based on your license plate, you can't drive on some of the weekdays, just to decrease the cars on the road.
Depends on the last number of your license plate.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a minute. That's confusing. So
Not confusing.
Well, yeah, that's different.
Okay, for example, I mean, Mexico City, it's like a huge city
Okay.
with I don't know how many million people. So there is like the regulation that you have 1 day per week where are 2 numbers, like the last number of your license plate. It doesn't matter if it's foreigner or local, just like the last number, have 1 specific day where you can drive around, and all the other days you are not allowed. In Mexico City, there is like one a loophole for foreigner cars, for tourists, so they can once per year have an exception for 2 weeks that you can drive like every day you want, but that's only once per year.
Yeah, and then in all other cities we've visited, there are no exceptions for foreign vehicles. So we always need to check when we're allowed to drive.
Okay, so you come to the city And if it's not your day of driving, you got to stay put or you just get the heck out of town.
Yeah, you just got to stay put. I mean, you can still drive, of course, you just risk a ticket. But yeah, this also meant, for example, that we wanted to leave Bogota and then we noticed, oh, it's actually not our day. So we had to stay one more day in town. So yeah, this stuff happens.
So for navigation, so you don't get lost in these crazy cities, it sounds like you're primarily using Google Maps. Is that right? Or what else are you using for navigation?
Yeah, so we have an Android-based multimedia device in our car installed where we run the music and dash cams and all that stuff. And there we are able to install every app that is available in the Play Store. So basically we use like 90% of the time offline Google Maps because like the coverage here in Central and South America is not that good. So also at these camping days where we need to maintain, we also need to download all the offline maps of Google Maps to be prepared to navigate without internet. And then we also use Maps.me for hiking trails. It's like the best app, I would say. And also for off-roading, a lot of tracks are in Maps.me, but not at Google Maps. So it's a good source and everything is offline. So you also need to pre-download the countries, but it's accurate and quite good. And for big cities, we would recommend to use Waze. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, okay, yeah. So Waze is like the way to navigate in a big city because, yeah, sometimes roads are blocked. There are, major road construction or whatever, and it's really, really accurate, but you need to have internet, and this is why we normally only use it in big cities. And also, a nice feature of Waze is like, I mean, for you, it's maybe not that a big thing, but for us, it's like you can choose the language of the navigation. So we can choose like Swiss German, and that's so funny, and it reminds us of home, and it's quite funny.
Because I mean, Swiss German it's not really an official language; it's more a dialect, and you never have Swiss German anywhere. I mean, there's not even an official way to write it, so that's why it's like funny for us to hear the navigation.
But they've got it in Waze.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. That's awesome. What about cell phone service? Have you guys, what's your recommendation for people when they're doing the Pan Am to make sure that they've got service? Or you like getting SIM cards in each country, or do you have Google Wi-Fi? How are you doing that?
Yeah, we didn't find a solution that covers all countries. So yeah, we just, whenever we cross the border, we just buy a SIM card in the next town. We check first which provider has the best coverage, and then get the biggest data package there is. But yeah, we don't have a very good advice for the rest.
Yeah, it's in the US it's quite easy to get a good plan that lasts for a bit, but here it's like you can have 2 gigabytes or 2.5. Sometimes it's 5, but yeah, it doesn't last that long. So we quite often need to recharge the cell phone, like the plan. It's not expensive, but it's just like a hassle to go to a shop. And in some countries, it's like in every shop, they have different plans. So if you go to your provider, like in the main shop, they can't give you a recharge on your prepaid SIM card.
They can only sell you a new SIM card. So
sometimes you just need to buy several SIM cards in the same country just because it's easier than to find another solution. It's a bit ridiculous, but yeah, it is how.
Oh, that's crazy. You would think you'd be able to just recharge it online, like to buy more data.
Yeah, but most of the time it doesn't work with foreign credit cards.
Oh.
I don't know why, because most of the stuff works with foreign credit cards, but we've never found it possible to recharge online with our credit card. So that's the main.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's always a bit. To pay with the card, if they have the device and all that, it's not a problem to buy. I mean, fuel and all that stuff we buy by credit card.
Yeah, and even when recharging in the shop, we use our foreign credit card,
Exactly. It's
but
just,
we cannot use it online.
yeah, we don't know why, but it is how it is.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. Do you guys use like an InReach or a Spot for emergency communication if needed?
I mean, we have a tracking device in the car. It's a cheap German alternative called Potch, but we can PHA. Yeah, but I mean, for us, we found out now that it doesn't work in every country, especially in those countries where it was the most important to us. So yeah, I think next time we would invest a bit more money,
Yeah.
and have
Go
something
for
less
Garmin or
scary.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to.
Because I mean, in the end, here it's also you're kind of an insurance if you have a tracking device, because you can't get full coverage insurance, and if you've invested a lot in your car, you might be happy to have some kind of additional security, such as a tracking device installed.
Okay, cool. So overall, if you think about your entire vehicle, is there anything, if you had a magic wand, that you'd change tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the isolation would be a nice thing to have. But yeah, it is how it is. We don't do it now because it just takes too much time, and the materials are also a bit of a problem to get here. But that's in general, like.
Yeah, but you would also add the turbo.
Yeah, I would also add a turbo because in high, I mean, we don't have a turbo. We have a big 4.2 liter diesel engine, but we are now between 4,000 and 5,000 meter. So it's just like, it's so slow. Sometimes we are just like making 40 kilometers an hour just because the engines don't get enough air.
Okay, so a turbo. Okay.
Because it's so thin here. Yeah. So turbo would be also a really nice thing to have. And probably we would invest in a turbo kit when we would do the trip again.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So I'm guessing, as you probably know, you probably get the question a lot from people online. Bathroom stuff is a big curiosity and a concern for a lot of people that haven't done overland travel before. How are you managing bathroom needs and hopefully getting a shower every so often? Like, what's working for you guys?
Okay. I mean, we have an outdoor shower on our car, but the thing is, like, it's outdoor, cold water. So we need to have like a remote place because we are standing naked beside our car and showering, and the temperature needs to be in a zone where you can shower with cold water. So that's a bit a problem sometimes. In Central America it was fine, but now when we are higher, it's like in the night it's like 0, and through the day it's like 20 degrees or so. So it's not that comfortable to shower, and also the water is like the source that we are trying to save as much as possible because it's not always that easy to get. And so we normally wash ourselves like with a towel and soap, so that takes not a lot of water, and you're still maybe not like I mean the hairs, you can't clean the hairs, so that's maybe a bit of a problem for my wife. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it. But yeah, it works out. And in Central America, also in South America, there are a lot of showers around, like
in
gas stations, because the truckers also need to shower. So in gas stations, I mean, they are not like nice showers, but there are showers. Or like at toll stations where you need to pay toll for the highway and stuff like that. There it's sometimes for free. Sometimes you need to pay a small amount, maybe $1 or not even $1. So it is possible to travel without a proper shower. Of course, at the beginning, it's like a big change. You can't shower every day. I mean, normally you shower every day, but now it's different. But we also manage that because we traveled before. You manage somehow when it's like maybe 5 or 7 days or so we have a shower normally, I would say.
You definitely gain an appreciation for running water.
Yeah, it's a if you have a filter, then it's quite easier. But also with the filter, it's hard to find. If you have a filter, then you should check that the filter is self-cleaned. Like you can take it out and clean it, because to get that filter, that specific filter that you need, it's quite hard to find here, and it takes quite some effort to find it. It's maybe probably easier to fly it in, but that's a major cost. And yeah, it's like water is like a bit of a problem, I would say.
Okay, so the impossible question for everyone, so you're not alone, right off the top of your head, what are one or two places that immediately come to mind that really resonated with you, that were extra special, and why?
For us, Baja California in Mexico was wonderful. There was just so much unspoiled nature, empty beaches that we could camp on and had entirely to ourselves, then some nice off-road tracks. And then also we were very lucky because we were there while there was a whale season. And it was very special. Yeah, I mean, they have some lagoons, 3 or so, where the gray whales come from the north to give birth and to teach their calves to survive.
Oh, fun.
And the gray whales, they're not afraid of humans. So to show their calves that humans are not a threat, they come to your boat. And so we did a tour in a small fishing boat, drove out into the lagoon, and the gray whales, they came with their calves and wanted to be petted.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. They
you can touch a gray whale. I mean, that's just an experience that
and they like it.
Yeah, and they like it. I mean, it's crazy.
And it's also a bit scary because the whale is, or at least the mother is much bigger than the boat itself. So a false movement can like throw the boat completely over. But and then on other occasions, we just camped at some beaches and could watch humpback whales playing in the ocean because they were so near to the coast. And then we had jumping rays, dolphin pods, watch turtle hatchling releases.
That's one of the cutest things we ever saw. I mean, these small, tiny turtles moving to the ocean. It's just, it's really nice to see. Yeah,
and I mean, everything from shore. You don't even have to book a tour into. I mean, yes, for this, for the gray whales, yes, but for the rest, you see so much stuff even from the shore. So that was very special for us. Other things were, I mean, Utah was very special as well. We've always visited, we've visited Utah already on our first trip in the U.S. So when we went again, we thought, okay, we just go there again. But we actually didn't because there was so much stuff to do and to see, and so much stuff also off the beaten path, so many off-road trails, so many canyons. It was just like incredible. So I mean, for example, we hiked this huge canyon called Coyote Gulch, which had canyon walls that were a few hundred meters high, and we never saw another person for the whole day, and it was really magic. Also a bit scary because I mean, there was nobody to help if something would happen, and then we had to get out of the canyon again, and the problem was that for a day hike, you don't have a good option to get out there. So you have to kind of climb the steep canyon walls without really having any equipment. I think I was never so scared in my life because at one point we couldn't really turn back. We would just fall. So we had to get up further, but there was nothing to hold on to. But we managed, and it was an adventure, and it was cool. Yeah, it was nice. There was a river like that flows through the canyon. There are arches where you walk under it, and it's like huge ones. Huge ones. It's just amazing. Yeah, and then the off-road tracks, like White Rim Road or Top of the World or Hell's Revenge. It's if you have a 4-wheel drive car, you definitely need to spend a few weeks in Utah.
Good advice. Good advice.
Yeah, and then I mean, of course, also Central America and South America had lots to offer. So, for example, definitely a must-do on the Panam is Guatemala with the volcano Acatenango and El Fuego. So you can hike up on Acatenango volcano, camp there, and watch the lava spying El Fuego for the whole night. So that's really incredible experience.
Yeah, so it's like a volcano that erupts like
Every
15, 20 minutes.
every 10, 15,
And then
yeah.
it's like you see like the lava spying, you have the smell, you have like the vibration of the eruption. It's just like, that's really like nature shows the power that nature has. And yeah, it's really incredible to see that.
And then in Belize, we spent a week on a low budget atoll where we just camped in our own tent in a small island, like really Robinson Crusoe style. We ate coconuts all day, and it was a paradise. We could snorkel from the reef, and it just cost like $100 for the whole week, including the boat to the island. So it was very simple, but it was also very special, and also a way to relax because there was nothing to do except for
Swimming, snorkeling, fishing, and chilling.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what would you guys say is the number one biggest challenge you've had to overcome on the road?
I mean, challenges are all day. I mean, it's like you are like a foreigner in a foreign country. You don't know the culture, you don't know. Maybe you can speak a bit the language. I mean, we are not the best Spanish-speaking guys here, but we find our way through. But so I would say every day is like a small challenge because you don't know what's happening today.
The only situation that I think we can think of that was sort of challenging, or at least ended then in a crazy day, was one time that happened in mainland Mexico. We wanted to hike a volcano, and it was called Nevado de Colima, not far from the coast. So we drove up there and slept there for the night, and the weather forecast actually looked perfect. But then when we wanted to hike the next day, everything was really covered in complete and deep snow. So we started the hike, but it was too foggy to finish, so we wanted to drive back. But the roads were a complete mess because, I mean, the road itself, it was very steep, which is no problem when it's dry, but it was snowing. Yeah, so if you would slip, you would end up being stuck right away in the little dip beside the road. So it was a really big challenge to not get stuck. But yeah, at the same time, many locals saw from the beach that there was some snow on the volcano. So they just spontaneously decided to drive up there. So they came in their shorts and two-wheel drive cars with summer tires. And yeah, it was a complete mess.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, we managed to not get stuck. And then we helped a couple of others who did get stuck. Yeah, so this was kind of a challenge, but it ended very nicely. This huge group of family and friends, they invited us afterwards into a quite noble restaurant. And we had to eat all kind of local specialties like intestines and so on. And Rafi, he would have to drink a lot of tequila. They were really generous, and we're still in contact.
That's awesome.
Well, that's how you get through it. That's how you get through it. You just swig down the tequila.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. So border crossings, do you guys have any tips for doing a border crossing? Do you have a routine that you generally go through to make sure you've got all your paperwork and everything ready to roll?
Yeah, I mean, we always have a lot of copies at hand. Then we read all the comments in iOverlander. If there is no up-to-date info, we check the homepage of the tourism organization of the country, or also we check the Facebook group if someone has just asked some question about the border or has posted some information. And there's just also some information we check before we cross the border, like some general information. For example, which ATMs don't charge a fee, or are there any drone regulations? Is there any border fee that we need to have at hand, and in which currency do we need to have it? Stuff like that.
Okay. Any specific border crossings that really stand out to you?
I mean, the most notorious one in Central America is the one to Nicaragua, or also the one out of Nicaragua. It's just because it takes a long time, and drones are illegal in Nicaragua, and lots of overlanders have drones with them. And in Nicaragua, they are notorious to X-ray your vehicle and also ask specifically if you have a drone and if you have one, they confiscate it, and if you're unlucky, they take it away from you, and you might even have to pay a fee. So yes, that's why that's the most notorious one.
Yeah, it took quite a long time. I mean, from Nicaragua to Costa Rica, we had about 5 hours or so.
Yeah.
So it's just like border crossing days are sometimes quite stressful, and you just should plan like a whole day for the border crossing. And then if it takes only 2 hours, then you're happy, and if it takes 5 hours, it's okay. But yeah, there are also lunch breaks and all that stuff, and then you just stand there for an hour.
Yeah, don't go before a lunch break.
And
then everybody leaves for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to start over?
Yeah.
Oh.
But maybe one advice we can give is that, like, if you know a border is notorious, just do a little bit of research. For example, when we crossed into Nicaragua, most of the people, they use the border south, two borders south. And we saw from the comments in iOverlander that they always do the X-ray and are specifically looking for drones. So we headed to the border further up north, even though it was a detour, where there were some comments that they only X-ray commercial trucks. And indeed, we weren't X-rayed, and we weren't even asked about a drone. So yeah, sometimes it just pays off to drive a little detour. I wouldn't do it for every country, but yeah, for example, for Nicaragua, I guess it's worth it for most people.
Yeah, a little research. That was smart. Good move. Have you guys ever been concerned about safety?
Yes, especially in the beginning. I guess everyone who starts the trip is very concerned about safety. And most of the people, they start to get really relaxed when actually on the road.
Yeah, I mean, we started in the US. So when we talked to people and explained our plans or what we want to do, then they all say, don't go to Mexico. First day you get killed. And it's like...
Not all.
Not all, but it's like so many people are afraid of Mexico.
Yep.
And we also were a bit afraid at the beginning. And but it managed some. You talk with people, you see people are generally nice. Of course, there is stuff that happens. But I would say in Mexico, it's like, as a tourist, you are okay. It's not like the cartels don't want to hurt you or anything like that. It's fine, and even they help sometimes, and you know they are there, and you don't know who has a weapon and who not. But at the end, everyone was nice to us, and we never had one single incident that we can say it was like quite dangerous or we had some luck. Use common sense and read on iOverlander if there are some regions that you shouldn't go to.
Yeah, or in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I mean, people post normally when something happens. So, yeah, we found Facebook groups and iOverlander very good sources. And of course, then other overlanders or local people.
Yeah, and then it's just like, number one rule is like, don't drive at night. It is because of, a lot of stuff happens when it's dark. It's like security issues are more, I would say, through the night, and also the potholes and the speed bumps and all that you can't really see at night. So that's like the major advice. It's like, don't drive at night. Try to get to your camp spot when it's still daylight, because then you see your surroundings and it's just safer. And then we just we go complete into nature where nobody see us. Or we go like at the central plaza where everybody can see us. And
we don't do like a mix.
In the city, don't go like somewhere in the suburb or something like that. Just go central, and that worked quite good. so far. And we also have a bit, we are from Switzerland, so we have like a Swiss flag on the side of our car. And a lot of people don't know the difference between Red Cross and Switzerland flag. So we discovered that a lot of people thinking we are Red Cross, because also the Troopy model, the Troopy model is also one of the ambulance car here, like in complete Central and South America. They are also as an ambulance conversion. That also could help, at least at the police sometimes. It's like...
Yeah, we never had an incident with corrupt police, and we think it might have something to do with it, because a lot of people have respect for us, but without the real reason. They just mistake us for the Red Cross. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't plan for it, but it turned out great.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad said, take that Swiss flag away, the people will think you're so rich. But actually, it's the opposite. They think we're the Red Cross, and they have respect for us. So it turned out well.
They just assume that you're that's awesome. Well, that worked out well. That's funny. So what's the inside scoop on getting insurance for each country that you go into? Is there any tips you have there?
We've tried to look for international full coverage insurance, but we haven't found one. So there is only liability insurance, and mostly it's just local for one country, and the coverage is normally so low that it's not really worth getting it, but sometimes it's just compulsory. So it's mostly just part of the border crossing. You have another office that you have to visit to purchase insurance or something like that. So no, there is unfortunately not a real good advice we can give.
Oh, okay. Okay. What about healthcare? Is that like if you, I don't know, have a dental issue or break a leg, what do you do then?
What we found out is actually that a lot of countries in Latin America, they provide free health service. But yes, we are insured, so we're not really dependent on that. We have some international insurance from Germany. It's called Young Travelers, and we pay $500 per year. The coverage is extremely well. It just doesn't cover us at home. But I don't know. We got it through a broker called Uwe Dittner, and I can give the details, but I don't think they accept customers outside of Europe.
Yeah, and we had one incident that we needed to go to a doctor. Like you had some...
Yeah, I had some infection.
On the leg, something...
Yeah, some bacterial weird infection. And then I just visited in some village, the regional hospital in Colombia. It was free.
Oh, nice.
But it was also, I would have other treatment at home, I would say. He didn't do anything. He just prescribed me a lot of different antibiotics and medicine and stuff. And it worked, but it was fine.
Yeah, and the medication was like...
Yeah, $2
or so for like...
Antibiotics and, I don't know, some 2 or 3 more tablets and creams and stuff.
So it's quite cheap here. And also in Mexico, we visited a doctor because we want to have a description for malaria prevention medicine.
Oh yeah, and
that was also for free. It was just like a donation based. Yeah, you can give the doctor a tip. So it's also a bit strange, but I would say all the health thing is like it's really cheap here because the government control everything, and the people here they don't have money for go to a doctor, so it's really they need to have almost free medicine, and you also can see that way more people here wearing masks, but here it's sometimes still you need to show your vaccination card, and they are really take care of them because they can't afford to go to a doctor or something.
Gotcha. So each couple and each relationship is different, but do you guys plan personal time separate from each other?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, I would say. We actually don't really have time separate from each other. There are a few cases, for example, when Rafi goes fishing, or today Rafi didn't feel well, so he stayed in the hotel room while I went out. But yeah, for the rest, we're always together. And yes, it's a challenge. We're living 24/7 in a space of about 4 square meters. And we fight a lot, I would say. But I mean, of course, there are even more good times than fighting times.
Yeah, I
So,
hope so.
so we are still very much in love. But yeah, I mean, I'm more the temperamental person, while Rafi is very calm, and that I think, yeah. Otherwise, I think it wouldn't work. If we were two temperamental people, it would be very difficult, I think.
You need to have the yin and the yang.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
It's awesome. So let's do finances real quick. I'm guessing, like, if you're not getting currently paid, you're just doing your trip based on savings. Is that right?
Exactly. I mean, we have now 6 years to save. We lived in a flat shared already there a room of 20 square meters, so we're kind of used to living in a small space.
That's good.
Yeah. And yeah, we never went out, or seldomly went out. We never buy or seldomly buy new stuff, and that way we just could put aside the major part of our income.
Okay, and then can you give us an idea of what your average monthly expense is currently?
Yeah, I mean, about $2,500 to $3,000, which is quite a lot, but it also incorporates all the major one-time expenses. So, for example, just recently we had to buy a set of new tires, which costed $1,400, and there is already half of this amount gone. Or then we had to exchange both our batteries during the trip, also costing each several $100s. Or then we do a lot of services or oil changes, and we spend a lot on fuel because we drive a lot. Yeah, so I mean, we know a lot of people that have a much lower budget and travel on a much lower budget, but they are in general driving or traveling slower and driving not as much. I mean, the driving is still the major expense, I would say. I mean, we wild camp a lot, so we don't spend a lot on overnight stays. Yeah, it's mostly the driving that takes our budget, and then the food. Yeah.
Yeah, but the food is quite okay. I mean, fuel in Central America is like around 110 a liter. That's about $4 a gallon. And here now in Peru, it's a bit more. It's like 6 or 7 a gallon. And yeah, it's just like if you drive, it adds up because, yeah, we need to tank a lot.
Okay, cool. So we love hearing about other overlanders, their stories from the road. To date, what's been a favorite experience or maybe a situation you got yourselves out of?
Good question. We needed to ship our car from Europe to United States, and it was not allowed to have a propane bottle in the car because of some regulation safety issues of the sailing company. So we needed to find a solution for our cooking. So we started in the US with these small propane tanks, and then we thought like, yeah, we can't do that like the whole time. So we decided to buy in Mexico a gas bottle, a small one, a propane bottle. And yeah, we wanted to store it outside because it's not so nice to have the bottle inside the car. So we decided to do a mount, like an aluminium mount at the back of our car to store that propane bottle securely. But it was really challenging to find someone that welds aluminium, and also the aluminium itself was like hard to find in that size what we needed to. So we found one like in Mexico City, like a really small shop, like a one-man guy show, and he could do that for us. And we bought all the stuff, and he he said, yeah, we can come 2 days later and then it will be finished. And then, of course, he came and nothing happened. Um, so then it was already weekend, and we started to help him and do the improvement. And then it was Saturday, and then there was like a kid that has a birthday, like from the neighborhood, and so all the people came together and then celebrate that birthday, and also we were invited because we still needed to wait. So, and the family there and all the people, I mean, we weren't really able to speak conversation in Spanish, and they don't speak English, so but it was like a really nice atmosphere. It was like we drank way too much alcohol, and
They even went to the store to buy a tequila, especially for us.
Oh, wow.
He gave you his favorite shirt,
yeah,
like
the
one
soccer
of
shirt,
yeah.
That's great.
and yeah, it was like really a special experience to enjoy.
Yeah, and then we camped in front of their house, and the next morning at like 7 or so, they were waking us up, wanting to continue the party,
Oh, wow.
giving us a michelada and trying to convince us to go to the beach for a couple of days. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, that's funny. So, if anything, what underscores your faith in humanity or the human spirit during your overland travels?
Well, I mean, it's just in general, you meet so many extremely kind and trustful people. It's amazing. I mean, you start completely worried with your trip and you focus on how you can increase your safety and so on. And then in the end, you feel bad about it because you meet all these nice people. I mean, we had so many cases of people just inviting us to their home. For example, also when we asked some questions in the Facebook groups there are for traveling to Panama, people just invite us to their homes even though they don't know anything about us. Or yeah, another time we just wrote to some guy that we knew that sometimes takes overlanders, or at least used to take overlanders in. We wrote to this guy at a Saturday at 5 o'clock in the evening, and he invited us to his home, and we had dinner and drinks with his family. I mean, yeah, something like that would actually never happen, I think, in Switzerland. Yeah, you have so many of these cases of just incredible hospitality. So, yeah, your people are in general kind.
That's awesome. Anything we've missed?
No.
Okay, so let's go through some fun facts about you guys. What keeps the co-driver occupied during those long 5 or 10 hour drives?
Well, unfortunately, I don't really get bored. I'm always like planning or writing blogs, sorting pictures or movies that we took. So, yeah, I mean, I'm always the co-driver, so that's why I'm saying I.
There's always something to do, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're planning to drive now through the Amazonas. So, and I'm almost finished with the long-term planning. So I hope to finally being able to read a book or so.
Oh, there you go. There you go. What's a favorite drink in the morning?
Yeah, I would say it's coffee. It's I mean,
I think we determined that early on.
yeah,
Coffee.
exactly. I mean, normally, I mean, the thing is like here in Central America and also South America, it's like it's getting early dark, so it's like six in the evening, it's dark.
Oh, wow.
So we try to, yeah, so we try to get up at 6 in the morning just to have a bit more daylight to enjoy whatever we want to do. Because yeah, normally at 5 you reach out to your camp spot or you self-camp spot or whatever. So time is limited through the day. It's not like, yeah, in the summertime it's like at 10 still some light around. So we try to get up early, and then it's of course the coffee and good start to get moving.
And is the coffee just black? Do you use cream, sugar? What's your mixture?
No, we are like black drinkers. We normally drink Americano,
Okay.
something like that. So, but we also are ashamed a bit that we are still drinking instant coffee.
After
What?
visiting all those coffee countries and
Yeah.
doing all the coffee tours,
Doing the coffee tours and
Hey,
see
whatever
like
your jam is.
how the preparation is.
and that all the low quality beans the lowest quality beans go into the instant coffee. But we still drink instant coffee.
As long as you enjoy it. What's a favorite beverage at night to wind down after a long day?
I mean, sometimes we have a beer or a glass of wine. Yeah, then here in South America, they drink coca leaf tea, which is nice in higher altitudes because it helps against the altitude sickness. Well, I'm a hobby bartender. I'm a bit sad that we don't have a freezer for ice to mix cocktails.
Oh,
But I mean, a nice, warm, and easy drink to make is or also a drink that helps if you're a little bit sick, is a grog, which is basically hot water mixed with a little bit of rum, lemon, and sugar.
Yeah, then you sleep like a baby and you are waking up newborn. So it's quite a good good thing.
And a favorite recipe or meal you enjoy making?
I mean, we cook very simple, but something that we can always make because there's nothing perishable in it.
And we always have.
And we
with us.
always have, but it's also not very healthy. It's a tuna pasta. So it's just like cooking some noodles, and for the sauce, you combine a tin of tuna, a cup of cream, and a tin of concentrated tomato paste, and that's it. And it's very delicious. Yeah, but
At
not
least
very
so.
healthy. Or, I mean, couscous salad is another very simple one. You just have to cook the couscous for like 5 minutes and then mix in lemon, oil, veggies, and cheese, and that's it. So,
that's great. What's your best advice to those listening right now, or advice that you would give your 10-year younger self?
Set up a goal that you wanna reach, and work hard to reach that goal. I mean, that could be a trip like we do now and what we have done now, or something different. And I would also say, don't worry too much. We were also extremely worried at the beginning about safety. Do we have everything? How it ends up and all that. But at the end, in general, it's like it runs smooth through. Maybe there are some hiccups that you are stay on, but in general, you can say it moves. And the good thing is like, if you have a car, you can just move with you if you don't feel comfortable anymore. And it's also about going out of your comfort zone. I mean, leaving the job. I mean, we had now the opportunity that we still have a job, but most of the people don't have that opportunity. So you need to quit your job. You need to quit your rental house or whatever you have, to do something like that, because otherwise the costs are too high to keep all that stuff that you have. And the key word is just like go out of your comfort zone and everything will be right. And it's just you need to enjoy your living, and you never know when it's over or too late. And you see now how fragile the earth is. I mean, we have not had now COVID with huge restrictions. Now we have a war in Europe. There could be also always something that hold you down to do something that is not common to do. But I would definitely recommend to do it and stay focused on your goals, and you will reach it.
And how can people learn more about you guys and get connected with you? Is it A Very Long Honeymoon on social media, or do you have a website? Where else can people find you?
Yes, I mean, we have Instagram, A Very Long Honeymoon, and then we have our blog, which is averyLongHoneymoon.com. The blog is in German and is updated weekly. Also, it's very detailed, so maybe too much for most of the people, but it's also some kind of diary. So, I mean, to keep track of all the things we experience. So that's why that's detailed.
Any added info you'd like to share or useful resources for our listeners?
I mean, USA Overlander, it's like the Bible for overlanding.
Yeah, I mean, for the Americas.
For the Americas, at least, yeah. And we also advise people like, I mean, in America, the comments are really new and good. But in Central America, it's like sometimes the comments are quite old, but there are a lot of travelers around, but they don't share their experience. And that's somehow a bit sad for others because information like like the most informations are pre-COVID. So we really advise or like would be nice if people update their experience on my overland, like in Central and South America.
And also for Latin America, like if you go to, I mean, if you overland in Latin America, it's best to take everything that you can, like in terms of outdoor gear, parts, and such kind of stuff with you. Because we found it to be like really hard to find stuff sometimes. And also all imported goods are much more expensive than in the US or in Europe, for example. I mean, for example, we have been looking for proper trekking shoes in Mexico, and we haven't found any ones that are in our budget. So
yeah, it's always like you can have the cheap Chinese option that is maybe okay for a few days or weeks, or you can have the quality products that is from the US or Europe or from wherever, but it's at least 20 to 50% more than in your home country. So yeah, the real advice is like take like everything with you what you need, because
in terms of gear,
yeah, in terms of gear, because also it takes so much time to find that piece that you want, because it's not like you can go to Amazon and order it and have it 1 week later. So you need to go to shop, and that shop says no, go there, and a half a day is over, and you were just like asking in shops around for a specific item. It takes quite a lot of time to get good products here.
Thank you. You guys are a wealth of information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much as well for having us, and safe travels to you too.
Yeah, and all the listeners.